Hi, welcome to the channel. If you are new here, I'm Jen and I am delighted to meet you. I've been on a mostly meat diet for a couple of years now and I have had dramatic health benefits because of it. My skin used to look like this, and now it doesn't. And for a year and a half, I've been off the very toxic medications that I had to be on for a long time to manage my chronic conditions. But after a year and a half on a carnivore diet, I found that I've had to make some tweaks to make it sustainable. And so today we're going to talk about why I include milk, specifically raw milk, in my diet. Let me first remind you that I stuck to a pretty strict carnivore diet for 1.5 years, and at times I included dairy in my regimen. The dairy consisted mostly of cream for my coffee, cheese, and butter. Typically, none of that dairy was raw, and there were times, up to 6 months actually at one point, where I did not include any dairy in my diet at all. So keep that in mind before you start judging me about including dairy if I still have a little bit of weight to lose, because when I didn't have any dairy for 6 months, there was still no significant improvement with weight loss. So after that 1.5 years of strict carnivore, I was having a few issues and I actually felt like I needed to quit the carnivore diet because of them. It took me a few months of experimentation to realize that a carnivore diet could still be sustainable for me as long as I included a little bit of carbs. And that's when I discovered how well raw milk fits into my lifestyle. I get tons of questions and comments from you guys when I talk about raw milk or show myself drinking it. So let's get into some of those. First of all, why do you drink raw milk? Well, this is a great place to start. So after about 9 months of eating my strict carnivore diet, I did begin having quite a bit of difficulty specifically with sleeping. So for example, I'd wake up fully alert around 2 a.m. and not be able to get back to sleep. Sometimes it was just alertness, sometimes it was light cramps. And at first I thought it was great because I had so much extra time in my day to be productive. But after a while, I started experiencing a lot more issues that made me think it was wrecking my adrenals, such as increased stress, gaining weight, that kind of stuff. And there were times during that period when I would wear a continuous glucose monitor, so I could see that my blood sugar was actually dipping quite a bit overnight. And I realized what was probably happening is my blood sugar was getting so low that my body would release cortisol to bring my blood sugar levels back up. But then that cortisol release would wake me up super alert, ready to go. I was basically running on cortisol and adrenaline during that time. My circadian rhythms got pretty messed up, and I spent the latter half of my year and a half as a carnivore struggling to figure out how to fix myself. Once I discovered that I needed just a little bit of carbs to help keep my blood sugar stable, I learned that 1 to 2 cups of raw milk per day did just that. Each cup has about 12 grams of carbs, and sometimes I include a cup with my breakfast, but almost always I have a cup of raw milk before going to bed. Here are some screenshots of my overnight glucose when I didn't drink raw milk before bed. And here are some screenshots of my blood sugar when I did. My sleep, while still not always perfect, is significantly better when I include raw milk in my diet. So that's why I drink it. But let me circle back to say that there is a reason I drink raw milk instead of pasteurized milk. First of all, I've always heard that milk is problematic for autoimmune conditions like the psoriasis that I've had since age 7, so I was always very nervous to have much dairy. I've found that when I include lots of dairy in my diet, like a lot of cheese, a lot of cream, my acne specifically gets way worse. I still don't know if it makes my psoriasis a lot worse. Sometimes I think it does, sometimes I think it doesn't. When I started drinking raw milk, I immediately noticed both my acne and my psoriasis changing, but for the better. Pretty soon we're going to talk to Morgan, the farmer that owns the farm where I get my raw milk. And so I think she may have some insights on this, but I believe that the improvements I notice are because of the gut-healthy bacteria that are found in raw milk. I found it to be equally beneficial to cultured foods like yogurt and fermented veggies. Now that you know why I drink it, let's move on to some other very interesting questions and comments like this one. Milk is loaded with lectins. It rips your gut lining. The kind of milk that I drink is A2 raw milk. I'll be doing an interview later in this video with Morgan, like I said, the farmer that owns the place where I get my milk, and she'll explain to us more about what A2 milk is, but for now, I'll simply say that A2 milk is actually really low in lectins. Milk substitutes like almond milk are super high in lectins, so stay away from that if you're concerned with that anti-nutrient. The next question is, where do you get your raw milk? In Kansas, stores cannot sell raw milk. However, you can buy it here directly from a farmer. Here's a map that shows the various rules regarding raw milk depending on your state. In the dark blue states, you can buy raw milk from the grocery store. In the light blue states, like Kansas where I live, you can buy it directly from a farmer. The green, yellow, and peach states have various rules that you could work around to get it. And in the red states, it's completely illegal. There are only a few red states, and those are Nevada, Hawaii, Rhode Island, as well as Washington, D.C. I personally buy my raw milk from a farm in Wellsville, Kansas called George Farms. It's a small, family-owned farm that is very connected to the community and sells directly to consumer. I actually took some video footage to show you exactly how my recent trip for milk went. There was one little hiccup that I'm a bit embarrassed about, but I'm going to share with you. I'm actually driving out to the farm right now. It's basically just farmland out here. I'll give you a little idea of the scenery out here. I drive an hour to get here, which is a lot, but I have some systems I've figured out so that I only have to come out about once a month, and it's totally worth it. George Farms has this little store right on their property. You can come in and you can purchase fresh beef or pork. They also have tons of milk products, milk obviously, as well as cream and yogurt, and they have eggs, they have ice cream, they have all kinds of things. So I usually get 3 gallons each month, and I just bring my little cooler bags to store them to make the drive home. There are a bunch of chickens on the property, but here's their coop, so they're mostly collected in here right now, but they just free range all throughout the farm. I mean, anytime you're looking around, there may be a chicken coming right toward you. See what I mean? There's a chicken right there. And then here's a little look at a few of the cows on the farm. There are plenty more, but these guys are just chilling, hanging out. Here's just an idea of what products they offer and about how much they charge. So it is more expensive than the grocery store, but for me, it's worth every penny. Well, about the time I was distracted by looking at their skincare products, I realized that I locked my keys in my car. Guess what? I'm out at this beautiful farm with all this awesome meat and eggs and raw milk. I came out here for my raw milk, but I locked my freaking keys in my car, and I'm in the boondocks, and I got places to be. This is not good. So anyway, I have AAA for situations like this one. They're gonna come help me, but it might take 2 hours. So I just need to know, am I the only one who does really stupid stuff like this, or do you all do it too? Because this is not abnormal for me, unfortunately. Well, this is exciting. Not exactly what I had planned for the day. Just sitting here waiting for hours for AAA, but I guess that is the repercussion for being a dummy. Here he comes, my knight in shining armor. It was an eventful day, but I got my milk and I finally got in my car. I've got Morgan here. She is the farmer and owner of the farm that I go to for my raw milk. She's a mama, she's a wife, she's a very busy woman, and she's actually pregnant right now, 20 weeks. And so she is so awesome to fit in time with me, but didn't get time to get glammed up, and she doesn't want to be necessarily on social media looking the way that she feels right now. So we're just going to cover her face, but know that she's gorgeous and beautiful at all times, but I want to honor her wishes. Now, anything else, Morgan, that they should know about you?
Let's see. I guess I'm not really from the farm. I think that's a pretty cool aspect. So it might give some people some hope if they're starting a homestead or starting a farm or what have you. My husband grew up running dairies. Well, his whole family's been in the dairy business for years and generations. But I was not. I grew up in the suburbs of Johnson County. And I just kind of fell in love with the aspect of feeding my family really well. And I've grown to love the animals and all of the aspects of that. And yeah, I just kind of grown in this profession as we've kind of started. So I think that gives people a little bit more hope.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know that about you, and I appreciate you sharing that, because I know a lot of people in this space are like, let me just start my own homestead. I'm kind of so it can happen.
Yes, yes, it can definitely happen.
Well, lots of people message me with questions about milk, and I do my best to answer them, but I felt like I should go right to the expert. So, first of all, can you just tell us what is the difference between raw milk and regular milk?
So the conventional milk is how I'll probably refer to it. That's just like pasteurized milk you get from the store. Typically, it's a grocery brand. Um, so the difference between like an A2 raw milk or just a raw milk in general is you are, when they pasteurize it, they are killing off all the live enzymes and um, it like they strip out the vitamins and all of that. That's what happens when it heats up in the heats up. And there's different degrees of pasteurization as well that will leave some good things in there and not. So basically, when you're drinking that conventional milk, it's not as nutrient dense as you could if you were drinking it straight from the cow. So with raw milk, it literally gets milk that day, is put in the bulk tank, cools down within the hour, which is very important. It's also turned in the bulk tank. The milk is moving around with an auger, and that keeps it sweeter longer, and it keeps that bad bacteria from um, forming at all. So you're getting really good bacteria. You're getting live enzymes. You're getting the full protein strands that'll digest in your body naturally. That's the A2 part, the A2A2 part. And it's just really nutrient dense. It's just really great for digestion, respiratory diseases, eczema, um, any type of like intolerance to dairy. I've had a lot of people have success with raw milk. So
Thank you. So I was going to ask about the health benefits, and you've kind of touched on that already. And then I also wanted to touch on A2 milk versus, I guess, A1 milk. You did mention that a little. Is that just the enzymes are different?
A2A2 is a genetic gene that's passed down from the mama cow and the dad cow to the calf. And so it's a blood test that we basically do to all our cows before either purchasing them or our calves that have been born on the farm. And basically the milk that they produce, an A2A2 cow produces, has all the proteins in the milk. And then so it naturally digests in your body. Actually, women are A2A2, so when they breastfeed, I highly suggest them transitioning to our milk because it's just a really easy transition on the baby's tummies when they're about a year old, when it's that time to transition and wean off. But yeah, basically the A2A2 milk, it won't bloat you. It just naturally will digest in your stomach. We have tried A1, A2 cows or like A1 cow. We've never sold it, but we tried it just for ourselves, and it does make a difference. It just is missing that protein in the milk. So we've just seen a big difference in that.
Interesting. I actually had somebody comment that milk is full of lectins, and so that's why you shouldn't have it. So I just did a little research, and it seems like that is a little related to the A2 thing as well. Apparently, A1 milk is kind of high in lectins, not so much as like almond milk, for example, but it's very low actually for the A2 milk. So that could be maybe another reason people tolerate it more. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not too familiar with lectins. I'm just gonna be honest. Is that like sugar, higher in like a natural sugar?
It is a very hot topic in the carnivore community. It's a type of anti-nutrient. So I don't know them all by heart myself, but I know it's like a lot of nuts and stuff have them, and I don't, I may be misspeaking, but most anti-nutrients, so I assume lectins also, it's like your body can't detoxify them without binding them to something else that we need, like for example, magnesium. So often
Okay.
sort of set you up for deficiencies and things that we do want, because they have to be bound to those good things to get rid of the bad things. So we'll just pretend that's what it is. I'm pretty sure I'm close.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not something I carry on about myself that much, so I don't know all the details.
I know you can like test the milk and see what the nutrient value of like what's in actually in there and like the percentages. Eventually I think we want to do that. That's on our list, and I would love to just kind of see what's all in there, like vitamin D, all those because it would only benefit people to know those things. I would assume if it was A2, since it's easier to digest, it might, since it has all those proteins, it might be lower in that, or at least have something connected with it where it is digesting a lot easier for you with the lectins. I don't know that answer.
Well, it makes sense. So
Yeah.
why is it hard? Like, why can't some states sell raw milk? Why is that a thing?
I think the reason for that is because they do a very good job of inspecting grade A facilities. So grade A milk is pasteurized milk that you can buy in the store, the conventional milk. And they do a great job of regulating that, and that's based on state. And so it's just a new, I think a lot of people have really gotten into raw milk recently in the last few years. A lot more people have, just because they've seen the benefits of it. But in Kansas specifically, I think it hasn't been as high demand until recently. And when that comes, so like in California, you can sell raw milk in the stores, but that they're regulated. So they have a state chart. They have stainless, like they have essentially a grade A facility, or a facility that is inspected properly. And we also have that because my husband used to do grade A, but it's not regulated like it would be for grade A right now. And we've talked to the state. We would like to get, be pioneers with them. I think they're open to that as well, so more people can kind of get into raw milk. But it's just based on your state and how they regulate it. Some states, they're like, you can't at all, and then that's when they just sell it as pet food, but it's really the same process of everything. So it's just kind of, I think there's more and more people wanting the demand of raw milk and seeing the benefits of that. And yeah, so that's what I think on that.
Well, that's good news. So maybe in the sort of near future, it'll be a little easier to get.
Yeah, I think it would. It seems like it. It seems like a lot more people are going in that direction.
Do you have any tips for people to find raw milk in the states that you can get it, maybe from a farm or whatever? You mentioned sometimes it's marketed as pet food, but just in general, any tips for people who don't have my situation where I just come to you?
So I would say realmilk.com is a great one. That website, anyone, like, even if you have like 2 cows and you're just selling raw milk off to the side, you're not a professional business like we are, they can register their farm on realmilk.com, and people can search that and find that. I would say Facebook and Instagram have been a great way to market it. They have groups of people who just want, like, farmers, and groups of like locating farmers to the customer. Definitely some Facebook groups. Realmilk.com is a great resource. And then just kind of talking with people. I would say the amount of people who come get raw milk, they know someone who has like a greenhouse, so they get their vegetables there. They know a farmer who does this. Like, you just kind of talk to that group of people, and they are, like, most people are pretty well knowledgeable on like the area of who's local and who's not.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
for anyone who is in the sort of KC metro area, George Farms is in Wellsville, right?
Yes.
It's about an hour for me, but it is well worth the trip. I just stock up when I go. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how I freeze things, how I store things so that it will last me about a month. And then I will be out to see you again in a month.
Yes. Also, we do drop points that's closer to the city too, which is all really legal if we complete the sale before at the farm or on the farm online store. So if there's like a drop point in your area, it might be a lot easier for people to if they want fresh products every week or something like that to locate that. So
I find that a gallon of raw milk lasts maybe 7 or 8 days in the fridge before it starts to sour a little bit. And it takes me an hour to get out to the farm, an hour each way. So I'm not trying to go out there every week to get another gallon of milk. So I usually buy 3 or 4. That'll last me about a month. And what I do is I put 1 cup, which is 240 milliliters. I measure that with my food scale. And I store 1 cup in each of these bags so I can freeze it. Let me just show you how that process works. I've got a few bags set up here. I'm going to weigh the funnel in 1 bag and then erase that weight from the scale. Okay, now I'll put up a bag, put my funnel inside, and then start pouring in some milk until I have 240 milliliters. Perfect. Okay, so that's how the process works. I'm gonna sit here and finish all of these bags. Well, not all the bags, but until I'm out of milk. And it's about 16 cups per gallon. So I'm gonna have about 32 bags full of milk here. I've got another gallon in the fridge, but that'll finish before it goes bad. So as soon as I get those all ready, I'll show you what I do next. Now we've got all of our bags full. So all I do is squeeze out as much air as I can and then zip them locked. Lock them zipped, I don't know, zip them locked. I get the air out and I close them. So then they can kind of be folded on top of one another like this. So I'll show you that when that's done. I've got all my bags full and they're laid out as flat as they can get. So now I just take them on a cookie sheet down to the basement freezer and stack them up to freeze. This is what they look like when they're frozen. They're kind of yellow like human breast milk, which I think is so funny. To thaw them, I just lay them out on the countertop for a few hours or in the fridge for a day. And the milk and the cream do separate a little bit, but it goes back to regular white. And I just shake it up to get them to mix, and there's no effect on the flavor. Well, it feels good to have like a whole month's worth of milk ready to go in my freezer. And I will just take these previously frozen ones and put them right on top. So it only takes 1 shelf from my freezer because I need more room for meat. Even with all the improvements that I've shared about including raw milk on my diet, I still get a lot of negative feedback. Let's discuss. Dairy can be an obstacle to losing weight. Lactose in milk can keep you from benefiting from ketosis. I know lots of people say that dairy in the diet will keep you from losing weight. But you know what also keeps you from losing weight? Sleeping terribly and being stressed out all the time. And I'll remind you that I gave up dairy, even butter, for 6 months at one point and still didn't lose any weight. And I personally try to stay out of deep ketosis. I feel super wired when I'm in ketosis, like I've had 19 cups of coffee, and I don't love that, and I can't sleep worth a crap. When I first started chasing ketosis as a carnivore, that's honestly when my sleep problems began. Oh, I love this comment. Yeah, I started to try to watch these again, but the whole raw milk thing makes me not want to watch. No one older than a toddler should ever drink milk for any reason. Well, I'm not really sure what to say to that other than we are all different and have various bio-individual needs, and I'm certainly not trying to convince you to drink it if you don't want to. Raw milk is still milk. It's not meat. That's true, but I never claimed to be on an all-meat diet. Most carnivores include eggs in their diet. Eggs are not meat either. And nearly all of them include salt. Salt is not meat. And every single one includes water. Water is not meat. I know I'm being a little silly here, but I'm just pointing out that none of us are living on meat alone. I personally define a carnivore diet to include any animal product. Of course, that's mostly meat, but it could also be fat, organs, eggs, milk, blood, bones, all the things. Plus, of course, water and electrolytes, because duh. So if that's not your definition, that's totally fine. Unpasteurized milk is the same as pasteurized milk, but with added risk. It is mainly sold to pasteurization plants and, in smaller quantities, people who also buy healing crystals. Okay, tell that to my sleep, my psoriasis, and my acne. They're all better when I drink raw milk. And also, drink whatever you want. I couldn't care less, but for the record, I don't have any healing crystals. Ooh, here's a good one. That's a lot of saturated fat and bad cholesterol, not even counting the low amounts of fiber and vitamins. Raw milk also has a higher chance of containing E. coli. Please talk to a real nutritionist or doctor and not whoever is trying to convince you that this is healthy. Oh my goodness. Nobody tell her that most of what I eat is fatty meat and eggs or she might have a stroke. But honestly, if you're still worried about saturated fat and cholesterol, we're never going to see eye to eye. Girl, that raw milk is just sugar. That would be a good thing to let go as to not trigger or put on weight. Let's dig into this a bit, shall we? 1 cup of raw milk has 12 grams of carbs, but it's actually a really nice mix of fat, protein, and carbs. It's approximately 22% protein, 31% carbs, and 47% fat. I think that's why it keeps my blood sugar so stable. If I ate 12 grams of carbs from a food that didn't also contain protein and fat, then I think what would happen is I'd have a temporary spike in my blood sugar, but my insulin would raise and then ultimately cause my blood sugar to come crashing down and then maybe lead to an even lower blood sugar than I would have had without the milk. But raw milk doesn't do that. It's also a great source of calcium, vitamin A, B vitamins, vitamin D, omega-3, phosphorus, potassium, selenium, and zinc. So the point is that I respectfully disagree with the comment that raw milk is just sugar, and to the person who said raw milk doesn't have any vitamins, poo-poo on you. Oh my gosh, my favorite comment of all. Could you please block me so I don't have to watch you drink milk? Oh my gosh. Okay, you're welcome to unfollow anytime. Nobody is begging you to be here, but I do appreciate the comment because the more interaction I get, the more people get to see my stuff. Okay, now here are some sort of civil questions. What happened to your energy levels when you added raw milk? So in general, I would say that my energy is better when I include raw milk, but mostly I believe it's because I'm sleeping better. Sometimes I do have raw milk before a workout, and some days I'm like, ooh, yeah, that really gave me more energy. And other days I think, that didn't make any difference. So I'm not sure that it makes a huge difference there. How much different does raw milk taste from a 2% pasteurized milk? In my opinion, raw milk is a lot creamier and maybe a tiny bit sweet, but honestly for me, it's just a bonus because I drink it for the health benefits, not for the taste. I've actually gotten a lot of positive comments from you guys about milk being a helpful addition. It's so hard to say addition, about milk being a helpful addition to your diet, so I'd love to share a few of those. Milk is carnivore, so much dogma with nutrition. You do what works for you and ignore the noise. You, my friend, are awesome, and I completely agree with you. Yes, raw milk is delicious. My family loves it so much, I bought dairy goats. LOL, our goat milk tastes just like raw cow's milk. You cannot compare it to what's in the store. Just like raw milk is no comparison to what's in the store. Yes, agreed. If you've never tasted raw milk, you are missing out. It's creamy and delicious and kind of like melted ice cream, but without the sweetness, of course, although there's a touch of sweetness. I finally tried the cereal and the combination is so delicious. How? I have no idea how it works. Okay, let's get into this. Most of the time, I enjoy my raw milk cold and in a glass. I just drink it down. But when I want a special treat, I pour it over pork rinds and it's cereal basically, and I'm telling you, it's incredibly delicious. I use baked pork rinds from Epic, which are salted, And sometimes I add a little bit of cinnamon, but somehow it tastes like Rice Krispie treats, even with the salt. Not Rice Krispie treats, Rice Krispie cereal. It's the best thing ever. Okay, I decided that the whole pork rind cereal thing needs its own little cameo in this video. So I'm gonna show you exactly how I do it, what I use, why I like it, and if you have other questions, definitely let me know in the comments. And if there are enough questions, if there's need, I will make a whole video just on this. But I use this Epic brand pork rinds. They are baked, so they're slightly less fat than most other kinds of pork rinds. Now, I'm not fat phobic. I don't care about eating fat, but I know that when I eat this, the calories add up quickly if I'm using like regular pork rinds, and some people use half and half or heavy cream as the milk, and I just think you could easily have a 1,200 calorie bowl of cereal, and if you're trying to lose weight, that may not be helpful. So I use these. I also like them because they're just like a little bit crispier because they're slightly less fat. So whatever, use whatever kind you want. I've used other kinds. I don't know of a kind that doesn't have salt, so there is going to be some salt, but it does not make it taste gross, I swear. It's crazy. But I like to kind of crunch them up a little bit so they're a little smaller and a little easier to eat with a spoon. So let me do that real quick. Okay, I did it. I hope that wasn't too loud. Now, I typically eat about half a bag at a time. So one bag makes 2 bowls for me. And then if there are still really big chunks, I just kind of break them myself. Now, one of the best parts about this is that when you add the milk, my raw milk, there's like this snap, crackle, pop situation like with Rice Krispies. So I'm gonna take my mic and put it by the bowl and see if it'll pick that up for you so you can hear it, because it's really fun. And also sometimes I do sprinkle on some cinnamon, but today I'm not going to.
Well, I forgot that the microphone doesn't work well for that because it cuts out the background noise. So let me try again with the microphone from my phone.
So then you just kind of coat each piece with the milk and dig in. I don't understand it. I don't understand how it's so good. And there's no sweetness at all. I mean, I guess a touch from the milk. So I don't find this to be super addictive. You know, sometimes I do find myself maybe wanting 2 bowls in a day, but I'm never like, give me more and more and more and more, like I am with lots of other things. Like I've shared with you before about the chocolate protein powder shake thing, and I can't do that anymore because it's too addictive and it leads me down a bad path. So I just want you to know this I've been testing out for many months and I haven't had any negative repercussions. It's super fun on a morning when I'm with my boyfriend and he eats cereal and I can eat this and it feels like we're kind of eating the same thing. And I really love to have it before the gym because it's pretty light, a few hundred calories. The milk maybe gives me a little more energy. I don't know, I'm not sure. But anyway, I love it. Let's wrap up with a few more of my favorite comments from other people who are finding the benefits of raw milk. I have the same problem with blood glucose lows at night. I have been having raw milk as well before bed and at other times during the day, and it helps. Raw milk at night helps me too. That and a magnesium supplement. I usually drink some raw milk with breakfast, but add it in a small glass at bedtime after seeing you do it. I'm sleeping again. It's a miracle. So you see, I'm not the only one experiencing benefits from adding raw milk to my carnivore diet. I didn't talk about this much yet in this video, but another reason that raw milk helps me sleep is because it seems to be the only thing I've ever tried that keeps me from getting cramps in my calves. And I'm talking the kind of cramps that are so painful, they have you hopping out of bed. So when that happens at 2 or 3 a.m., there's no getting back to sleep. To be fair, other people have commented that they've tried adding raw milk to improve their sleep and it didn't work. So we're all just a little bit different, but I think it's definitely worth a try if you're at your wit's end and thinking about giving up on the diet altogether. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and if so, I'd love for you to like it, share it, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. And let me know in the comments what you think. And for the record, I have no skin in the game. Nobody is paying me to promote milk. I'm just telling you from my experience what has helped me, and for people with a similar struggle, maybe it'll help you too.